In a quiet little town, there lived a boy named Rayon. He was 12 years old, small for his age, and always seen wearing the same faded blue shirt. Every morning, he walked 3 kilometers to school, carrying a torn bag and an old notebook. He didn't have fancy shoes or a smartphone like the other kids, and because of that, everyone laughed at him. At school, whenever he raised his hand to answer, others would whisper and giggle. "Look at his shoes," one would say. "Does he even take a bath?" Another would laugh. Those words hurt Rayon deeply, but he never said anything back. He just smiled quietly, pretending not to care. Deep down, he wished someone, anyone, would see his heart instead of his clothes. One cold morning, Rayon noticed an old man sitting near the school gate, shivering in the cold. While everyone else walked past him, Rayon stopped. He opened his small lunchbox and gave the man half of his food. The old man smiled and said softly, "May Allah bless you, son. Kind hearts never go unnoticed." That sentence stayed with Rayon forever. He didn't have money or nice things, but he had something far more valuable: kindness. At home, life wasn't easy either. His father had passed away when Rayon was only 6, and his mother worked as a cleaner in different houses just to afford a little rice and milk for him. Sometimes Rayon went to bed hungry, but he never complained. Every night he studied under the faint light of a candle, whispering to himself, "One day, I'll make my mother proud. One day, they'll stop laughing." He dreamed of changing not only his own life, but his mother's too. Years passed, and Rayon finished high school as the top student in his district. No one expected it, especially those who used to mock him. But success didn't come easy. To afford his school expenses, he worked nights at a tea stall, washed dishes, and studied between customers. One evening, his teacher found him asleep on a bench outside the library, books still open beside him. The teacher quietly placed a blanket over him and whispered, "This boy will go far one day." Rayon's hard work finally paid off. He won a scholarship to study engineering in the city. He couldn't believe it. His dream was coming true. When he told his mother, she hugged him tightly, tears filling her eyes. It was the proudest day of her life. But life in the city brought new challenges. He was surrounded by people who came from wealthier families. They spoke differently, dressed better, and laughed at his simple clothes and quiet nature. Some even made fun of his accent. It hurt, but Rayon remembered the words of that old man. Kind hearts never go unnoticed. So instead of letting bitterness grow, he focused on helping others. In his free time, Rayon began tutoring children from poor families who couldn't afford school. At first, only 1 student came, then 5, then dozens. He taught them under the shade of a tree, using broken chalks and a borrowed board. He didn't charge a single rupee. He just wanted to give those children what he once wished for: a chance. One day, a local journalist heard about the student who teaches the poor. He visited Rayon, recorded a short video of his work, and uploaded it online. Within a week, the video went viral. Millions of people watched it. Thousands were inspired by Rayon's story. Donations and sponsorships started pouring in from all over the world. With that support, Rayon opened his first free education center, which he named the Light School, in memory of the candlelight he once studied under. Years later, Rayon returned to his hometown, the same dusty streets, the same small school where he had once been bullied. But this time, he wasn't the poor boy in a torn shirt. He was the man who built schools for children like him. As he stood on the stage of his old school giving a speech, he looked at the children in the crowd with tears in his eyes. He said, "They laughed when I had nothing, but I thanked them, because their laughter became my strength." Remember, success isn't about money or fame. It's about what you do for others, even when you have nothing to give. The crowd stood up and applauded. Some of his old teachers wiped their tears. Even a few of the people who once mocked him stood silently, ashamed yet proud. Rayon smiled, not out of pride, but gratitude. He had proved something powerful, that no one's background defines their future. Today, Rayon's Light School has hundreds of students. Every year, he visits the old man who once sat near the school gate. The man still smiles kindly and says, I told you kind hearts never go unnoticed. Rayan smiles back, his eyes full of emotion, and replies softly, You were right. Because in a world where people chase money and fame, Rayan proved that the richest hearts are the ones that give the most. His story reminds us that sometimes the people who have the least are the ones who end up giving the world the most hope. Moral of the story: never judge someone by their appearance or their struggles. Every person you meet is fighting a battle you can't see. And sometimes the kindest souls are the ones who have suffered the most, but still choose to love, help, and give.